Hi, and good evening, everyone. As you tune in, hopefully to spend the next 60 minutes as we rock and roll our way across the where are we? We're live on the YouTubes, we're live on the Facebooks, we're live on the Getters. I think that's where we're live. Maybe I've missed somewhere else, but so we are broadcasting to the universe. And good evening. I see you joining on the different platforms. Hello to my friends Claude, Republican Rocker, obviously. I wouldn't want to have to say that after too much to drink, to be honest. Right, let's go through the routine. If you want to support the platform, you've got donor box down below to do that, in which you can drop us some little support. And of course, if you want to buy me a coffee, there's a link below that enables you to do that. And similarly, that helps support all this madness. Hello to Tommy. Hello to Leslie over on the YouTubes. Just a reminder, their daily podcasts are back up and running again. So they're linked to those below. Hi, Harry. Good to see you as well. And Wildwood Weeds. I love some of your names, by the way. You must spend ages thinking up these names. I'm so unimaginative. I can't get beyond my name, but there you go. So thanks, Leslie, for the kind words. I was on with my friend David Clues on Unity News Network. I don't know if anyone watches Unity News Network. I think David's on the D Live. Hello, Helena. Good to see you. And we were having a bit of a chin wag about the election results in the UK in general, and specifically, I guess here where I live in Northern Ireland, and we've got lots of things we could have talked about there tonight as well. Hi, Jeff, by the way. And yes, I'm glad to see my Californian input here from our friend Ultra Gregulate. That's right, you're ultra ultra mega. We if you want to trigger lefties, just say you're ultra MAGA. Say you're dark MAGA and watch them cry. Watch them cry into their cornflakes. Oh no, he said he was ultra MAGA. We can't believe it. How could they do that and hurt our feels? So yes, Claude, we have Miss Piggy is the new First Minister. Jason O'Brien, I see all you guys joining. Actually, just to say, FYI, the amused, I mean, you know, there is a line from a song that I use an awful lot. And hello to Donnie Girl, our great friend from Hawaii, joining all the way from there. Ultra MAGA Hawaii. I know it's not actually, because sadly it's a Democrat, you know what, but there's good people in it, just like there's good people everywhere. So I used to say, there's a song line that I'm apt to use. Used to be disgusted, now I try to be amused. And I do try to be amused. And hello, Florida. My goodness, we are getting our usual global reach from all over. Great to see you. First Minister of the putative First Minister, because it's not happened yet, after the election. The First Minister of Northern Ireland, right? Get this, can't say Northern Ireland. Yeah, really. That's clown world. So what a great asset she's going to be. She can't bring herself to say Northern Ireland. Why is that? Because she is ideologically opposed to the existence of the state for which she will be co-First Minister. So yeah, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh at all of this madness, you know. So which I try to do. And therefore, because I try to do it, I kind of keep a balance. Hello, Albert, our good friend Albert as well. So all the good people are here on a Monday night. What else are you going to do? That's the question I've got to ask you. Super Chat's available on YouTube, by the way. If you want to send us some support there, you can do it that way as well. So what's it? Hawaii's got lots of wild chickens. One positive along the nice beaches and weather. Yes. Well, of course, I've been to Hawaii, been to a couple of the Hawaiian islands. And yeah, I really enjoyed the beaches. I enjoyed the food. I enjoyed the drink. I enjoyed lots of things. Jason says, will she says the north of Ireland? She probably will. She probably will, because she can't say Northern Ireland. It would be ideological suicide to admit the country for which he has become First Minister. Anyway, well, without further ado, we've got lots of issues to make our way through this evening. And as always, we're playing this little dance. We're always dancing our way around the YouTube and the Facebook overt censorship. So we can't talk about some things, but we can on the Gettrs, but not so much on the YouTubes, right? Or the Facebooks. But that doesn't stop us doing our best to try and do it. And that's what we're going to do. So actually, Claude says here regarding Michelle O'Neill, the new First Minister of Northern Ireland, who can't say Northern Ireland. Claude says she's a diversity hire. Well, I'm not so sure if she's a diversity hire, but and this is something. Yes, no, Brian. Jabs are fantastic. Oh my God, I've had 16, and it's not enough. Remember, 16 jabs is not enough to protect you from the most dreadful, the most fearsome virus there's ever been known to mankind in the history of the universe. You need to have at least 16, or at least I would recommend that, and 16 masks as well. Helena has joined us. She's moved across from the Facebooks to the YouTubes. I love it when you people do this, by the way, because it completely confuses me. I'm not sure. I think most of you watch this on Gettr or on YouTube. I think there's a smattering. I think actually what I need to do is, one of the things I need to do is, when I broadcast on, hello, Frida, good to see you on the stream as well. Nice to see you. Thanks for all your comments that I see on the stream. Republican Rocker tells us, latest coof news, it prevents colds once you're infected and recover. Imagine that. Imagine. We can't talk about the coof on the YouTubes, because if we do, well, we have to be very careful. We have to be really careful. But I was recommending 16 jabs, although I'm not a doctor, and 16 masks. And I think it's probably best to stay in your cellar and never go out and never meet anybody ever, if you can avoid that, and just cry probably. That's the sensible. I think that's pretty much. I think the Dr. Fauci approach, more or less, which I completely support. Let me be absolutely clear on that. Yeah, that's YouTube, folks. Right, let's talk about the Ukraine. So we're allowed to talk about Ukraine, I think, just about. The people in Ukraine, no matter how you look in this one, okay, getting serious now. However you look on it, since the Russian incursion or invasion, whichever word you want to use, of Ukraine happened, there's no doubt about it. My friend Richie Dupe, good to see you. Richie Dupe on the YouTube. They've suffered a lot. They have, look, there's no doubt about it. Ordinary Ukrainians, they've suffered a lot. But I have heartbreaking news. Yeah, the suffering continues. Because I have to tell you, and it's with a sinking heart, that just when you thought things couldn't get worse in Ukraine, they have. Because Bono and The Edge both played a flying visit to the most deadliest war zone known to man as well. They both went to the war zone that is Ukraine, but happily they played a little song. And I think we've got a little clip to demonstrate this. And I hope you'll all sit back and just, just feel the love. Cue Bono. Won't you stand by me? Have you a message for, let's say, who'll be listening? A message for the United States? A message for Joe Biden? What is your message? Of course, yeah. I have. Do you have a message for Chancellor Scholz? Not for Joe Biden, for a lot of people, for all over the world. First of all, I want to thank you, Bono, and you, The Edge, to come here. Well, hey, was that Zelensky? I'm not sure. Who was the guy in the military outfit? It's gotta have been Zelensky. Oh, wasn't that a moving moment? Oh, I was so moved. Oh, so I'm just able to hold it together here. Albert wins the best comment award so far. I'd rather be hit by a missile. Those poor Ukrainians. I mean, Bono mightn't have found what he's looking for, but he's doing his best to inflict misery upon the rest of the world in the process. It's grim stuff, wasn't it? It's grim stuff. So they fly in. So Bono and the Edge fly in. I mean, how did they get in? It's a war zone. I don't understand. Actually, Wildwood Weeds said they're murdering one of my favorite songs. Yeah, that's a good song. Stand By Me, absolutely superb song. One of my favorites. Massacred. Just like the sort of thing that would happen in the Donbass. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. So anyway, they flew in to Kyiv, and there they went, and they performed in an underground. That was an underground, as you may have seen from the image. It was an underground train station, metro station, and but naturally, even though it was a war zone, they managed to get the lighting just right. All the cameras were there. Yeah. It's totally real, and not, definitely not a psyops. It's definitely not a psyops. I can see from your comments that I'm not the only person who's not a fan of Bono. Albert says Ukraine are odds on for Eurovision this year. Yes, I am praying that Ukraine will win the Eurovision Song Contest this week, because then next year, it's going to be in Kyiv, hopefully under Russian occupation. So that should be lots of lols, shouldn't it? Simon says good CGI. Yeah, maybe they weren't there as well. Who can tell? Can you believe anything you see these days? I don't think you can. I'm not sure that you can. But I mean, Jason makes the point. All these brave people going to Ukraine, because it's not just Bono and the Edge, right? It's not just those couple of grandstanding opportunists. No. We've had other people. We've had Angelina Jolie. I think we've got some links, actually. Can we bring up? Before we do that, somebody just said my gran and cousin saw Bono and Edge in a tea shop in the 1980s. Right, I can top that. Okay, so when I was at university a long time ago, back in Charles Dickens days, right? Whenever I was at university, on a Sunday evening, we used to gather and we went to the Student Union bar. And there was one night we went down, I remember this so well, and there was this band playing in the background, and we were just going, they're awful, ignore them. So we just sat and basically drank like students do. That band was, yes, U2. So I can say I was there more or less at the beginning of the U2. It was in the very early 80s. Unfortunately for me, such a long time ago, Jason. But I remember you two they played this university student bar gig. Nobody was interested in them. I sure as hell I wasn't, and nor was anyone around me anyway. Leslie says, I'm a young pup. I'm a pup. I'm glad to hear that, Leslie. My fear reality says something different. But there you go. So it's not just Bono and the Edge, because we've had other important people like Q, for example. Who else has been to this terrible war zone? Oh, Angelina Jolie and her entourage. But they had to run for cover after an air raid siren during her visit to Ukraine. You leave. The actress assures fans, I'm okay. She was all right. But she'd gone to the western Ukrainian city, and there was an air raid siren went off. Interestingly, there was no air raid, but there was an air raid siren. Great theater. She deserves an Oscar, I think. But it's not just Angelina Jolie who's gone to this terrible, most awfully dangerous war zone. We have, let's see what else we have. We had others like, look at this. Dr. Jill Biden makes an unannounced visit to Ukraine on Mother's Day. Oh, the significance, the symbolism of this. On Mother's Day, she met Ukraine's First Lady, Olena Zelensky. Oh, look at that. And she brought flowers and everything. Probably got them all the way from Scranton. Hello, Billy Piper's teeth. I'm glad to see you here as well, my friend. So yeah, look, Dr. Jill Biden has risked Russian bombs and rockets and bullets. She's probably dodged them. Yes, that's right, Jason O'Brien. Doctor. It's important. You said doctor. Is she a medical doctor? No. It's just some academic. Yeah. But she demands that she be called doctor. Yeah. That's the sort of person she is. Mind you. Yeah. Brilliant. Old Baz brings up, where's the songstress of Mariupol? Well, I don't know if you got it. I did a podcast of this earlier today, because they were talking about the ghost of Kyiv, and of course, ghost of Kyiv never existed. But I think we have. Oh yes, our wonderful producer is bringing it up. It's going to be somewhere here in all the stuff that was out today. Was it from Bono? What was it? I'm sure I did something. Or maybe I just mocked it. I can't. Maybe it was in that one. Anyway, the ghost of Keir never blooming existed. But now they've found the songbird of Mariupol. The songbird of Mariupol. I keep telling this, and this is the fact. The fact of the matter is, I'm going to come on to, I know there's one other celebs have been there as well. Hi, Peter Stewart, by the way. Good to see you here, as long with our friend Simon. All you guys, good to see you. The song, the ghost of Kyiv, is a literal ghost. And Helena, you're right. I mean, I reckon Dr. Jill Biden is there to make sure that the big guy gets his 10%. Are we allowed to say that? I think we are. We didn't say which big guy or which 10%, did we? We kept it vague. But Dr. Jill was there. But don't forget, I mean, there's other people. And here's another person we're going to bring up, lest we forget, who visited this deadliest war zone ever, Sean Penn. He had a film unit with us. He did a documentary. Hey, I mean, is it me? Am I being an awful cynic here? Or do you think this is a little bit contrived? What do you guys think? Is there a possibility, just an outside, totally remote possibility, that this is all one grotesque, bloated psyops? Because that's what it seems to me. Listen, I've never heard of this before, where in the deadliest war zone ever, you're getting Hollywood A-listers zapping in. You're getting, global rock stars, if you could call them that. I don't believe that they are, but they're certainly globalists. Oh, yeah. What do you call him? Bono. He loves George Soros. He loves that global WEF agenda. That's our Bono. As somebody pointed out, and earlier on in the stream, I think the comment may have gone, but Ireland is no longer sending us their best. When you think about it, you're dead right about that. Yes, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Jill Biden uncannily resembles Alice Cooper. Yeah, I've seen that. School's out and all that. What? So, I wonder, was it a green screen, though, the Bono gig? Yeah, it's entirely possible. It's entirely, I mean, I think it's we can be reasonably confident that a lot of Zelensky's, or certainly some of his pieces to camera, do seem to be green screened. So, yeah, what do you think? I also think, by the way, that a lot of this stuff is being coordinated, by the way. The PR is being coordinated through London, and it's being then pushed out through the global media. Bono arrives, Saint Bono arrives in Ukraine. And I was moved by not just what he sang, but he said, and this is definitely on a podcast from earlier today. He said that this is about not, thank you, Ukraine, for fighting not just for your freedom, but for our freedom. What? What freedom? Sorry, just to say, quick, gentle reminder, Bono, would that freedom involve the people in the Donbass, the 4 million people there that have been terrorized and potentially genocided since 2014, since the illegitimate false color revolution engineered by the CIA? What about their freedom? Not matter? Does that not matter, Bono? No. Well, I have found what I've been looking for, and that is a grade 1 cosmic weapons grade hypocrite, which you are. Olba says the Bono gig is available on Netflix for a very reasonable fee. Yeah, Peter Stewart puts up a cracking comment here. Bono performed a concert in a bomb shelter in Kyiv to give the locals an example of what true suffering sounds like. Yeah, I know it. This is why I do this. Your comments are always better than me. That's good, though. Yeah, very, very good. As I said, haven't the Ukrainians suffered enough? I mean, it's only a matter of time to what. I mean, has Beyonce gone yet? Has she not gone? What about the Spice Girls? How about they reform and they go to Zig Zig Ah in Kiev in the name of freedom, of course. Freedom. I mean, honestly, I mean, I know Bono is a complete sham. Of course, I understand that. But yeah, Jason, he's always where the action is, making things happen. He's fighting for the environment. He's fighting for freedom. He's fighting for all the good stuff, or so we're led to believe. But yeah, I'm just trying to read some more of your comments here. Yes, Albert says the MSM were devastated. Putin didn't declare all out war on Victory Day. Yeah, yeah. Well, of course, I think it's reasonable to observe, although the mainstream media don't want us to say this, but Russia has not declared an all-out war on Ukraine, because if it did, Ukraine wouldn't exist anymore. It's been tactical in terms of what it's done. You may or may not agree with it. And my view in all of this, and I've been saying this since January, so this is not always saying this in May, but he didn't think it back then. I oppose the war. I oppose the NATO pressure. I don't think diplomacy has been allowed to prevail. I think this is all about, frankly, NATO expansionism and a desire to destroy Russia. I think that's what it's about. And so people say, oh, Putin shouldn't have responded the way he did. And I understand that. But by the same token, those biolabs were ringing Russia in Ukraine. All the money laundering, the corruption was going on in Ukraine. All the people, the millions of Russian-speaking peoples in the southeastern part of Ukraine, in the Donbass. I mean, they were suffering. So yeah, it's difficult. Obama says they're still getting another 1.3 billion of our money. Yes, Boris Johnson has promised. He's given them. Here's a check, 1.3 billion. Zelensky, take that, put that to your 33 billion, which I think Joe Biden gave a couple of weeks ago. There's 34.5 billion. And did you see, by the way, you talk about brass neck. Did you see that Zelensky said, yeah, guys, it's all great, but yeah, it's not enough. It's not enough. We need to get, 5 to 7 million a week, or 5 to 7 billion, was it? It was, yeah, it's huge. Jason, I completely agree with you. Huge amounts of money this guy is looking. But as Leslie points out, no money for this country, though. So, and it's the same in the States. Well, first of all, the 1.3 billion that the British government is giving this gangster state, in my opinion, should none of it should go there. It could be spent on meeting the needs of the British people, especially the British people suffering because of the sanctions, which we're going to go on to talk about in a moment. Because of the sanctions on Ukraine, it's impacted on Britain. It's totally backfired. But that money could go and offset some of them, Leslie. That's right. That's exactly the point. And as for the States, I mean, Biden's given so much. You American guys must be, really furious. Whenever you look at the condition of the Democrat hellhole cities, just look at any of them. You could ring them off and rhyme them off as well as me. You look at the devastation in those Democrat hellholes, and rather than try and invest and find ways to help those cities, no, they're going to Zelensky. They're going to Zelensky, and we can't be sure where all the money goes to when it goes there. But don't worry about it; it's all going to be okay. Hello to my friend Kim. Hello to Dave Barker. A few more people there joining on the YouTube. It's good to see you here as well. But yeah, always remember 10%. Albert says Zelensky's a worse grifter than Nicola Sturgeon. Well, of course, the world's full of grifters, and politics itself seems to attract a lot of grifters. Very, very strange, Al. But yeah, I mean, if you consider the issues that confront our pensioners in across the West as a result of what's the misery of the sanctions that have been imposed on Russia, which are backfiring, money could be spent so much better. Better still, they just don't tax us as much. I oppose fundamentally most taxation. I don't believe in taxation. I think it's wrong. I think it's institutionalized theft. But that's just me. That's just me. But anyway, this actually probably moves us on to our next topic. Let's move on to the next topic, which, by way of a light diversion, concerns the clown world that is British politics. Now, you'll probably all be aware, wherever you are in the world, that and someone says, and me, David, tax is theft. Yes. Billy Piper calls me a hippie because I oppose the government taking our cash, our money, not their money, right? Yeah, you will all have been aware of the fact that it was the Boris Johnson regime in the UK that imposed the stupid lockdowns, stupid lockdown rules, stupid lockdown restrictions, all of that stuff, right? Which and anyone, I've opposed this from the very beginning, right? However, Boris Johnson and his regime, but he in particular was caught out because he attended, as you know, parties in Downing Street, which he initially said, they're not parties. And then he said, well, no, okay, there might have been parties, but I didn't know. I wasn't really aware of them. Kim makes a very good point about, will pensions rise by 10%? No, you're going to be crucified if you're a pensioner. That's the wickedness of this Conservative government. Wicked. So Boris was caught out, basically, and it's still floating around. And he was fined by the Metropolitan Police, as was the Chancellor Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak. They were fined. They were breaking their rules. Now then, that still hasn't completely worked its way through the system because, of course, that Sue Gray report is still outstanding. And so there's still a bit of a cloud over, will Boris Johnson be able to survive? Happily, he's done nothing but talk about, look over there, Ukraine. Don't look over there, Partygate. That's the game that they're playing, right? Yes, Richie says, only Marcus Rashford can save Ukraine. Oh my God, Richie, I can't talk about Marcus Rashford. Shh. I get into big trouble when I talk about Marcus Rashford. Oh, yeah. So that's where we are with the Conservatives. But in the last several weeks leading up to the local council elections, the British media has been keen to try and get an equivocation with the opposition party, so-called opposition party. They're not. They don't oppose anything really this government does, just as bad. Labour Party. And that's landed the leader of the Labour Party, Sir Keir Starmer, in the deep stuff. Because, of course, these guys, none of them believe in the rules that they apply to you and to me. Oh, no, they don't believe in those rules. Sir Keir Starmer, therefore, has been cut out because there's video evidence that he was at an event when lockdown was happening, in which there was a group of people. They were drinking beer. They were having a curry. It was a work meeting. Can I ask anybody in this room who's been to, work meetings where beer and curry were consumed at those such occasions? Now, I've been to dinners and stuff like that there, where there was wine and beer and food consumed, but not actually during the so-called meeting. Maybe it would have been better if there was. I look back in retrospect at some of the meetings I've been to over the many decades, and I think, yeah, we should have all been drinking wine. It would have much better outcome would have happened. But back to Sir Keir. So cue the next headline. Let's bring this up. So Sir Keir said that if he is fined, he will resign. He vows to quit if the police fine him for Beergate, but doesn't say what he'll do if officers say he broke the rules but take no action like they did with Dominic Cummings. Oh, the grey zone. That's the grey zone then. And Angela Rayner, my bestie, his deputy, Angela Rayner, she said that she's echoed his position, saying she would also fall in her sword after getting a fine. But Sir Keir declined. As if he's fined, that's one thing. But if he's just rebuked, then he's going to be. He's not. It's uncertain what he will do. We don't know what he's going to do. So So this is really an interesting one. I think the way it's going to work out is the way that the headline frames it. He said that he will quit if he's fined by the police, which would give him a form of moral superiority over Boris, who's made it clear that there's no way he's going to quit. And so Sir Keir is saying he's insisted, he's absolutely clear, no rules were broken, and he believes that honor and integrity, come on. How can they say that with a straight face? Saying he's very different from Boris Johnson, but he's not. This is the whole point. They're all the same. Just reading on here. Pushed by journalists to say, what would you do if you are if the police merely say to you, listen, you shouldn't have done that and don't let it happen again, sort of thing, in such a circumstance. What would you do? And answer comes there none. So CCZ says Stormer should be on trial for crimes against humanity. They all should. And of course, the force also previously said in relation to Dominic Cummings that they do not take retrospective action in relation to COVID fines. So, this is going to fall into the domain of the police, I think. But let's see what Sir Keir said. Firstly, I haven't done anything that breaks the rule. No, you did. The penalty for a COVID breach is a fixed penalty notice. That's a matter of law. And I've set out what the position is in relation to that. This is funny. This is good. Listen to it. Heads up. In his statement, the Labour leader noted how he'd isolated 6 times during the pandemic. Yeah, he'd been isolating. He got COVID 6 times. Yeah, because remember, the jabs are so effective. He'd got it 6 times during the pandemic. He must have got more COVID than anyone else in the United Kingdom. 6 times. I mean, how unlucky is that? How unlucky have you to be to get COVID 6 times? And I don't understand why I'm not dead. And I'm not understanding why half of you people aren't dead watching this as well. Because if you're one of the really bad people who haven't taken your jabs, how are you still standing? Sir Keir made the statement after agreeing with senior Labour figures who'd urged him to go on the front foot over the Beergate row. I mean, it's also a sort of class-ridden, isn't it? Boris was drinking champagne and wine. Sir Keir was drinking beer. I mean, honestly. Here's the pictures. Look at this. Here he is. This is the work meeting. As you can see, people having, I think it's curries, isn't it? And is that Angela Rayner's head? I can't be certain. And there's Sir Keir. There's Sir Keir himself with a beer bottle in his hand. Isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Do you think there's any chance that if he is do you think he would follow up what he said? Sorry, I got an itchy eye. Bobby Baxter says pure blood rules. Well, is there any other way to be, Bobby Baxter? Is there any other way to be? Except we're on the YouTubes and the Facebooks where we're not allowed to even talk about these things. Simon Knight's bringing up 2,000 mules. Hands up everyone who's watched 2,000 mules. I've watched 2/3 of 2,000 mules. Got the final 10-15 minutes to watch, but very interesting indeed. Ask some fundamental questions about something that we're not allowed to talk about on YouTube or the Facebooks because it's heresy. Kim says Bono isolated 10 times. Suck it up, Stormer. Yeah, Kim, I have. Oh, Donny Girl says she watched it live. Oh, very good. Did you enjoy it? What did you think of it, Donny Girl? As I say, I was very impressed with. I'm not reading out old Baz's comment. I'm not reading it out regarding Angela Rayner, but I mean, it's a. Kim's right, by the way. Kim Stormer, Boris Johnson, they're all the same. They're always actually. I'll tell you something that stunned me. I saw it the other day. Jerry Adams, leader of the IRA. Yes, Jerry Adams, leader of the IRA, and of course, esteemed Sinn Féin doyen and all of that. Did you see he's a member of the World Economic Forum? Did you see that? Jerry Adams in the World Economic Forum. These monsters are all the same. Ultra Spike, well done, Spike. Dark MAGA Spike says he watched it. You definitely should watch it. If you want to understand exactly what happened in 2020, it's very forensic. It shows it does something that I personally love. It brings very data, actually hard data, from mobile phones and from video, and it kind of puts it together. And if you watch it, guys, you will understand exactly what happened and why the result was what the result was. So you'll understand that. And it's very well done, and it certainly put a different perspective on me for me on the result. Jason says he isolates all the time, even though he has no symptoms. That makes me the better person. Absolutely, Jason. That gives you top quality bragging rights. But Leslie, do watch it. I think it's available. I've watched it on BitChute, and I think it's on Rumble as well. I'm not sure if we can bring up a link to it, but it's very interesting. Really, really interesting. And yes, Donny Girl, it codified what we already knew. Well, exactly. I mean, it's not that it tells us something that we didn't know, but I think the fact that it makes it clear how they did it. And the thing that we can't say what that thing is because we're on YouTube's and we're Facebook's. But if is this the link to this? I think this is the link to it here. We're just bringing it up on the screen. But it's definitely worth a view. And, as I say, I watched most of it yesterday. It's like I don't know what you think about it, guys, but those who have watched it, it's like a crime story. It puts together the elements. And then by the end of it, you're kind of clear. Yep, that's how they did it. Here's the more important thing. The more important thing is it's also on Gab TV as well. Thanks. So you can watch it in different places. I don't think you can watch it on the YouTubes though. Don't think you can watch it on the Facebooks. Oh no. Hi John Mercer, good to see you. Hello my friend Blitzer, good to see you as well. Simon asks, when do the hunters become the hunted? The answer to that be the sooner the better, Simon Knight. The sooner the better. But so that's that is what we the whole issue about the 2020 election. So moving on, actually I've got a sore throat. I have to tell you, I have to apologize for this one. My throat is somewhat hurting me, but don't worry, we're going to carry on because nothing stops us. Jason says, have we got a link on your page? Probably, Jason, we could add one. I'm sure we can. Our producer, Jed, can do all kinds of wonderful things. And I'm sure we can. Well, can we put a link in or would that be problematical? I'll tell you what, best way to find out is go to my Gettr. And if you go to my Gettr, then we can put links for it. In fact, I'll put a link on it there. But if we say that on the YouTubes, because of the great need for mind control, it could give us problems. So we'll do it over there. Sinn Féin. Isn't it wonderful to be represented by such people? I know, I'm not going to get into that. Okay, so just when you think things were bad, and just when maybe if you wherever you are watching this, you thought to yourself, especially if you're in Europe, you thought to yourself, gosh, energy prices are really bad. It's getting so expensive. Price of oil, price of gas, absolutely surging, right? You think to yourself, well, let's hope that's the worst of it over. Oh, by the way, if you're watching this on, I should say this, smash the hearts button on the Gettrs. You got a heart button there. Imagine you're a cardiac surgeon. You've taken a dose of illegal medication and you're going really, really fast. Hit the heart button, see how fast you can make those hearts go. And on the YouTube, see how much you can hit the likes or whatever as well. Do they still allow likes on YouTube? I'm not sure. Or is that so 2021? I can't be certain. But don't forget, Jason, we're also on the Facebook, and we're on the Gettrs, you see. So we've got all. Yeah, the link, Simon, I see the link is now up. Status 77 has put the link up to 2,000 mules on my Gettr stream. So you can find it there. A quick search, maybe not a quick Google search, not a quick DuckDuckGo search, no, but a quick Brave search or such like. Then that, I do recommend the Brave browser, by the way. It's very good if you believe in searches which are not algorithmically crippled to yeah, Blitzer, I'd agree with that. I would totally agree with that, but I can't say it because of the platform that we're talking about. Sugar. So where are we now? Yeah, if you thought energy prices were bad, have I good news for you? Cue the next slide. Coming up right now. Oh, right. G7 countries pledge to stop importing Russian oil, says the White House. All right. Let's just read a little bit of this here. So the entire G7 club of rich nations, which are going to become a damn sight poorer, is committed to phasing out banning the import of Russian oil, the White House said. The White House said that, escalating pressure on Putin over the invasion of Ukraine. No, it's not. This will hit at the main artery of Putin's economy and deny him the revenue he needs to fund his war, the Biden administration said in a statement. Yeah, because sure as hell Joe Biden wouldn't be capable of even stringing together those words. And so get this, these nations, France, Germany, Canada, Italy, Japan, Britain, and the US are going to stop bringing in all Russian oil. Now then, we're going to talk about this one. The US, as the article says here, the US doesn't really, it's not a major consumer of Russian hydrocarbons. So so the US has banned something that it doesn't really import. But get this, what's being highlighted on the screen there. But Europe is much more reliant on Russian oil. The European Union has already said it's aiming to cut its reliance on Russian gas by 2/3 this year, although Germans aren't happy about that. And I imagine German manufacturing is even less unhappy about that. The G7, yeah, they're going to flex their muscles. They're going to say, yeah, take that. Well, hang on a second. Take what exactly? Albert sums it up perfectly here. It's deliberate economic self-destruction of the West. It really is. There's no other way of summing this up. This is the West economically destroying itself. The G7 particularly destroying itself. The European Union destroying itself. If you think this is going to give Putin a problem, I think you're wrong, because all that will happen is Putin can continue to supply large, growing economies like India and like China, for that matter, and like Pakistan, although I think there's a bit of a color revolution going on there, and other places around the world. You know, this is fundamentally the West trying to kill itself, now economically commit suicide. Now, Status 77 says they will have just another mechanism where a third-party country handles the cash or the oil. Very, very good point. And I mean, already we know this is happening. We know this is happening. I mean, you take countries like Bulgaria, 95% reliant on Russian hydrocarbon. What are they doing? Is Russia? Is Bulgaria going to just go? Yeah, it's fine. We don't need the hydrocarbons anymore. No, they're not. They're getting it, as Status 77 says. They're getting it from a third country. They're getting it from a third country. So. But here's the point. The point in all of this is that when this G7 sanction is imposed, that will drive the price of oil up, and that's going to be a global price increase. So, you know, by the time we get to Phoenix, she'll be waiting. No, by the time I get to Phoenix, by the time we get to the autumn, you're going to be paying so much more for your oil. Just reading Dinner Lady's comment, Ukraine has been having an invasion of presidents and prime ministers visiting, enjoying the photo shoots in the midst of bombs, yes, dinner lady. Nothing strange about that, is there? That's super duper normal. Oh yeah, World War II. Let me tell you, World War II, Vera Lynn was parachuting down into Berlin to perform to the resistance, such as it was. Winston Churchill was always jetting in to, to downtown Munich to show his support for this. It's psyops, but we know it's a psyops. However, back to the geopolitical economic suicide that our good friend Republican Rocker is pointing about. This is what it is, and everyone's going to suffer. And I'll tell you who's going to. Well, not everyone's going to suffer. The people at the bottom of the economic ladder will suffer. People on fixed incomes are going to suffer. Working class people are going to suffer. Middle class people are going to suffer. Yes, Simon raises a good one about the Queen's speech. She's not making it. Simon, it makes you wonder. You gotta wonder. Her Majesty's very unable, apparently, to make any public appearances due to mobility issues at the moment. But I better not jump down that rabbit hole. But I've got my thoughts on that one, Simon, and I've been suggesting it for several months now. Oh my God, he's a conspiracy theorist. Listen, at this point in the game, if you're not a conspiracy theorist, there's something seriously wrong with you, because today's conspiracy theory is tomorrow's reality. And JTPB points out food manufacturers being burnt down in the States by, vast number of unexplained incendiary events, mostly peaceful incendiary events in food manufacturers. There's been some in the UK as well, actually. Strange out there. Oh, hi there, by the way, Andy. Good to see you. What we're having is essentially the Western economies are being destroyed. They're being destroyed with a purpose, because you see, let's just think, what happens if they destroy the economies? What would need to happen next? Oh yeah, you'd need to build them back better, wouldn't you? Which is a phrase that comes to mind. And I think that is all part of the plan. If they raise us to the ground economically, if they were very successful using the lockdowns during COVID to achieve that. Let's be honest, lots of economic chaos and devastation, and only the large corporations really fit to survive. Lots of small companies going by the way. Lots of small businesses still under. That's an interesting prediction, by the way. I just say, Blitzer, just bring up that one. Blitzer says, Nostradamus predicted the Queen would die at the age of 96 and that Harry would be king by the age of 40. Oh, not sure about that one. Not too sure about, the Harry bit being king. Not sure about that. Prince Harry? Nah, I don't know. But yeah, we all know about the fires at the food production units. But thank goodness that Professor Bill Gates is buying up all that farmland all the way across America. That could not be more innocent and something to inspire us, as Bill builds back better by acquiring, I think he's the biggest individual owner of farmland in America. And as Republican Rocker says, you've had 36 food plants destroyed under mysterious circumstances so far this year. Thus far this year, we're not even at the halfway point of the year. You compare that to any other previous any year, it's exceptional. What could be causing it? And JTB, I agree. Stephen K. Bannon, Mr. Bannon from the War Room himself says, there are no conspiracy theories, but there are no coincidences. Yeah, Steve sums it up. Exactly. That's what I don't believe in coincidences. I just don't. Certainly in the world of politics, there are no coincidences. Anyone who thinks, oh, that's a coincidence, you're just naive. You're just a naive. Hi, Stevie, by the way, Stevie McIntosh, good friend over on the Gettrs. He says, need to get out in the garden and get the veg growing and prepping. I've done that. I have done that myself, believe it or not. I don't have any confidence in the food supply chain in terms of how robust it is and what could happen to it. So, as John Gleason says, they also factories seem to burn down curiously on a Wednesday or a Thursday. That's weird, isn't it? That's weird. No, I don't have we. So look, I think the reality. Have we got a story in the background to come up here? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Um, what's this? Oh look! Oh no, Euro soccer story. Oh, I haven't seen this one. Who is this guy? So footballer Jody Lukaku dead, age 29. Cause of his death still unknown. Unknown. So he's obviously, from the looks of that, is that Dutch? I'm not 100% sure, or is it? Yeah, I think it probably is Dutch. Yeah, Ajax. Yeah. Sorry, Ajax. So yeah, imagine that. Imagine that. It's so weird the way these young sports people are dying. So sad. But of course, we know that it's all completely innocent, and we mustn't in any way be, drawing any conclusions. Because remember, the vaccines are the safest thing that you could ever have. We all know that. YouTube and Facebook. We know that. We totally understand that. So. So yeah, so look, all going back to the energy thing anyway. What the G7 are doing is going to affect each and every one of you. You are going to pay so much for your energy. And listen, at the moment in the northern hemisphere, it's even where I live, it's relatively warm, so to speak. Cold enough, but could be warmer. But in November it won't be warm. And in November, your energy is going to cost you way north of what it costs you now. And at a time when you're going to be paying much more in terms of food inflation, you're going to be having your interest rates going up if you've got a mortgage. Don't forget, buy me a coffee. Look, my coffee is almost done. My throat is raw. So if you want to buy me a coffee or go to DonorBox, I do like DonorBox, by the way. DonorBox is a good platform if you want to give it a couple of dollars or whatever to this insane platform, because I think they're pretty robust when it comes to, the deplatformers, the people that chased me off Twitter, that got rid of me in Patreon, who took me down off kofi.com. Those people, those individuals, well, DonorBox is a good solution against them, but the other Buy Me a Coffee also works relatively well. There's an interesting comment, by the way, just in terms of this talking about food production. JTB says, Aussie Prime Minister Dan Andrews is banning homegrown food. Yes, interesting. And State of 77 says, China is destroying crops. So, it is interesting. Bobby Baxter, I haven't seen all the details in that one yet. But as I say, at this point in the game, if you think, if it's a conspiracy theory today, it's probably will be proven in a week or two's time. It's probably climate change causing these sudden deaths. Or possibly, climate change most likely. I would think, or Putin, he could be doing it. Yeah, that's possible as well. I mean, obviously, we have to look for. Someone says, "Is this an?" I will take an Irish coffee, by the way. I'm sure those of you watching have had an Irish coffee in your time. I remember discovering a place back in the day when San Francisco was a nice place to go to. Long time ago now. I remember going to a place just off Fisherman's Wharf, where they claimed to have invented the Irish coffee, and boy, did they produce a decent Irish coffee. JTP says, David, could you please mention 2000 Mules? I must watch. Not only have I mentioned it, JTP, I have put a link on it. It's been linked here, and I'm keen for everyone to go and watch 2000 Mules. Really, it should be called 54,000 Mules, though, shouldn't it? There it is on screen. Link to 2000 Mules. Go and watch it and draw your own conclusions. You see, one of the things about those of us people who are labeled extremists is we're not. I believe everyone should think for themselves. No one should believe anything I say. You should consider it, think about what you believe, and come to your conclusions. That I believe that it's individual people should be drawing your own conclusions. I see a comment from State of 77. Pet rabbits are giving kids hepatitis. I was only discussing this earlier today. It is truly, yeah, I can't go into it, but yeah, apparently there's a link, folks. If you want to watch, if you want to watch 2000 Mules, there's a link on the old screen there. Yeah, John, it is up. John Gleason, it is. I found it. It's pretty much, lock, stock, and two smoking barrels. It's case proved. But I would finish with this, perhaps, and leave this thought with you guys, that it's all very well to have proven what happened in 2020, okay? But how do we know that it won't happen again in the midterms? Because let's be honest about it. The apparatus which the film shows being used by the Democrats is still there. Nothing's changed. In fact, there's not 2,000 mules now. There's probably 22,000 mules. There's maybe 220,000 mules, right? So it all comes down to, Kim tells me Fisherman's Wharf created pizza with pineapple too. I used to love, actually I stayed just right on the end of Fisherman's Wharf in a really nice hotel called the Argonaut. If anyone's ever been to the Argonaut, highly recommend it. And yeah, it was a lovely place. That's before, of course, Liberals took it over and turned it into like steaming you-know-what. That's what it was. We never go back to San Francisco. Sorry. Why would I go back to San Francisco? I wouldn't be able to get flowers in my hair because I've got no hair. So you see, that's the problem with San Francisco. Yeah, how do we know that the cheating that they did then, they won't do it again? How do we know? And is the Republican Party demonstrating to you that they're going to throw everything at it to stop the shenanigans from 2020? I'm not sure about that at all. And in fact, actually, if you listen to the to 2000 Mules, they do touch on the fact that a lot of the establishment GOP doesn't really want to go down the rabbit hole of 2000 Mules. But see, I think they have to, because unless you remove the shenanigans, you're going to get more very, very bad and disappointing results. I mean, I saw an opinion poll. Did you see an opinion poll today that showed, or yesterday, that showed that Biden is 3 points behind Trump in any potential, rematch scenario? What? 3 points behind? He shouldn't even be on the scale. How can this be? They were saying, Trump's got 47% Trump, 44% for Sleepy Joe. But how can this be? And again, people will realize, and I did a live stream last night, and I was talking about the fact that it's not just the shenanigans that goes on. I'm using the word euphemistically. Yeah. It's the fact that the media is so corrupt, and social media is so corrupt, most of it. Not Gettr, not Gab, but the rest of it. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and dishonest. So because these are, hello there, we the people, good to see you. Because of their dishonesty, they will produce opinion polls showing things so favorably for the Democrats, suggesting that Joe Biden is so popular, so much loved. Just like they did back in 2020, actually. It's no different, but they'll continue to do it. And what we need is a really strong, robust GOP opposition challenging everything. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the approach of Steve Bannon in the War Room. Those guys. I like the ultra MAGA approach. You've heard me talk about this. This is where my heart lies anyway. I think that we need to be challenging just everything they do, and we need to mock them. We need to expose them. Barry Goldwater said, "Extremism in the pursuit of virtue is no vice. Yes, that's exactly it. Yes, moderation in the face of vice is no virtue. That's the other side of the coin. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. We all need to be ultras. And then, of course, when you say that, lefty trigger alert. Oh my God, he said he's an ultra. No, I'm not. I'm dark. I'm dark MAGA. I'm so dark, you can't even see me. And Yeah, so yes, Billy, I see, observe your comment. Again, I have to watch what we say because you choose to watch in the YouTubes. Um, Jonathan says an interesting comment here. Just let's bring this one up before we conclude. Jonathan says here on the YouTubes, I don't see the fortification. Yeah, I love the word happening again this cycle. Yeah, you don't say it, and yeah, I know, but what's to stop it? What's to stop it? Yes, they had the right ingredients. I do understand that. But hey, just imagine there was a new variant, a super duper scary variant arrived just in time for the autumn, just at that time of the year. Because I've heard Hillary Clinton saying already that it's very important. It's very important that postal votes be respected. Ultra dark MAGA like John Cena says that. Yes. So I don't know. We'll have to watch to see. GOP needs to man up. I mean, Trump fights reasonably well. I've still got huge issues with his nomination for Dr. Oz. By the way, those of you watching in America will get this one. Dr. Oz is a creature of the swamp. Why is Trump? Why is Trump endorsing Dr. Oz? I don't get that. He'll probably win, but that doesn't make it right. That makes it. Sometimes Trump shows strange judgment. Jonathan says COVID fear was a huge thing in 2020, which hampered. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. We agree with all of those things. Actually, it's just I'm scared that the fortification, as Status 77 says, I love the terminology we're using. We're using the fake stream alternate media's language against them. The fortification may be refined in time for this November. You see, that's what we have to watch out for. Because I don't see how the Democrats have any chance of prevailing unless there is refined fortification. Greg Elliott says here, Kathy Barnett is polling right there with Dr. Oz. Well, I hope she would. I mean, she's the person that I guess we'd want to see prevail, but not Dr. Oz, not Dr. Oz at all. Jonathan says, credit Robert Barnes for coining the term election fortification. Yeah, Jonathan, it's a brilliant term. Russell Thomas says, just found you. I thought you were still with the BBC. 23 watching. I don't think so. Good to see you after all these years. No. The BBC, the British Broadcasting Corporation, and I, we amicably parted our ways right about 2015, 2016, because I had this really bad habit. I went on to BBC programs and I spoke the truth. And I spoke it plainly, unambiguously. And that's not Russell, that's not wanted. That's not the way to do it. What you have to do, if you want to become regularly invited into the salons of the BBC and all the other fake stream media outlets, you've got to learn to moderate what you say. Kind of go along with the consensus, just maybe a little bit edgy, but don't be MAGA, don't be ultra, don't be me. Otherwise, they just say, well, they don't even say it. The phone never rings. They don't call. And I'm so glad about that, because if I was still doing their useless, stupid stuff, I wouldn't be able to do this stuff with you guys. And I would much rather spend the time in your company than with them. That being said, he says, his throat very sore. I'm going to have to bring our conclusions to an end. Dark MAGA. That's what we are. We are dark MAGA. It doesn't matter if we're in the UK. It doesn't matter if we're in the US. We are not taking anything that the lefty say. We don't accept any of their agenda. We don't want any compromise with them. We don't want to make, we want to reach out. I think Jonathan says he first discovered me in Gab. Yeah, Gab's actually got to be honest, my Gab account is absolutely flying in terms of some of the interreactions over in the Gabs is fantastic. So Donny Girl, aloha y'all. Good to see you. Thanks for being here with me. It's such a pleasure to see you. It's such a pleasure to see all of you people. Republican MAGA says, we're pitch dark MAGA. We're blacker than the blackest hole MAGA. That's who we are. And it's great to spend this time with you. Listen, that's it from me for tonight. We'll be back on Wednesday night. We're going to have a number of guests with us, hopefully, on Wednesday night. More to come on that one. in the meantime, thank you for being here. I'm just reading different streams here on the YouTubes. Thank all of you folks for being here. Appreciate, and thank you for all your brilliant comments. Ditto to all you guys on the Getterverse. Thank you for being there as well. And yeah, I think we're all on the right side of history, JTPB. We get a lot of abuse for it, but it doesn't matter. Right will prevail. And if you do want to support me, remember, you can buy me coffee. Link there below. This one is just about done. My voice is just about done. And I will catch up with you folks real soon. That's it from me for tonight. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.